Welcome to another episode of the Caution Free podcast. I am your host, Colton Sutley, along with my co-host Tim Friedhaber. And today we have Bradley Ashford on as our guest. Bradley, I guess just to start out, tell us how you got into racing.
I started racing around the age of 7 to 8 in quarter midgets. Did that for a few years. I think it was around the age of 15, 16. I hopped into a 1,000 cc mini sprint, or some people call them lightning sprints. Ran around Waynesfield in Indiana for quite a bit till I was the age of, I want to say about, I just turned 18. And then I've hopped in a sprint car ever since.
So, with what's been like the progression from like each car? Like, is there like a anything that you can take from one car to the next to kind of help you get adjusted to
Uh,
driving?
I mean, honestly, I don't think there was much that I thought I could really take from going from the Lightning Sprint to the almost 1,000 horsepower, 900 horsepower sprint car. Because obviously that's a big gap. I think my Lightning Sprint was almost 200, and then that's a pretty big jump going from 200 to almost 900 horsepower. So there's not much you can take away from that. I mean, you can still just kind of go along with obviously the learning the track conditions throughout Lightning Sprints and stuff like that. It just kind of helped me overall get comfortable with adjustments and stuff like that. But just the overall feel, like it was a whole different ballpark. You could just basically throw everything else away.
Okay. Um, when you were growing up and even now, like what are some of the drivers you like look up to?
I didn't really get into sprint cars. I was a big, obviously, quarter minutes I ran on asphalt. I didn't really get into dirt till one year. My dad took me to the Kings Royal. It was the year Brad Sweet won in the Ollie's bargain car, the yellow one. Um, and ever since then, I kind of just fell in love with sprint cars. And growing up, obviously, I'm gonna say Brad Sweet was probably my favorite. Once I started to get into it a little bit more, Brad Sweet, Jack, Cottonshield, Sheldon, all the kind of the some Ohio guys and Brad's from California. But Cole Duncan's one of my favorites right now. Cole's probably the best guy in Ohio right now. Um, but yeah.
Can you talk about the difference between racing on asphalt and dirt a little bit?
Oh boy. So obviously I haven't been in anything since quarter midgets, and those are pretty small and they don't go as fast. But no, asphalt it's a totally different ballpark compared to dirt. I think dirt's more fun in my opinion. Dirt's more kind of chaotic, and asphalt is the best way to describe it to me. Is it's more controlled.
Okay.
Um, you're kind of suctioned to the track at all times. To whereas dirt, you're sliding, slipping, all that all the time. You basically have more grip on asphalt, obviously, compared to dirt.
Yeah, you can really see that when like they compare. I know like Dale Jr. He'll like during an NASCAR race he'll like yell slide job and then I'm like I guess that's a slide job
Yeah, I,
from
I guess it's
used to
more than
like on dirt
yep, yep,
and stuff, but you know
yep.
never really. I don't know if too many people really realize how much of a difference there
No,
is.
I would love to go run something asphalt again for the first time in a long time, just to see it, just like go in something horsepower wise, the same as a sprint car, and just see what the feel is. But I'm sure it's more glued down to the track. And obviously you can probably go a little bit faster on asphalt than you can dirt, due to grip and tires and stuff like that. But I would love to do it again one day eventually if I ever get the chance to.
Um, on your Twitter, it said that you graduated, or it said Ohio State 22. So did you graduate from Ohio State in
Yeah,
2022?
no. I graduated from Ohio State last Christmas. I've been on college for almost a year and a half now at this point. But yeah, no, I went to Ohio State. I went for construction management, so I'm currently a assistant project manager is what I do in Cincinnati right now for a construction company.
Um, so you were racing then. So like, how difficult was it to go between college and try to race, going back and forth?
Oh no, I'll say I was able to race quite a lot in college because I just kind of balanced out my classes that way. I was able to kind of make my schedules around where I'd have maybe a my last class would be on a Thursday or a Wednesday, or I wouldn't have classes on Thursday or Friday, to where that'd give me 2 or 3 days to go home and get the car ready and do whatever I needed to go ahead and race for the weekend. So it was kind of nice. That's the nice thing about every semester. I can kind of you were able to schedule your classes around like what schedule worked for you. So that was a big benefit. Now going to like working Monday through Friday, it kind of sucks because obviously you only get a certain number of vacation days, so you kind of got to plan accordingly on what tracks you want to hit the most or which races you want to race the most. So you kind of got to weigh your pros and cons there where you want to run, and then obviously make sure you have enough vacation days. That's been the struggle there. But no, college, I didn't really have any issues being able to run whenever I wanted to run. I could always skip a class if needed. Wasn't the end of the world. I could always make up the homework or test or whatever the case may be. Professors are usually pretty flexible nowadays, so wasn't ever that big of a deal.
Nice.
Yep, yep.
So what do you consider your home track?
Um, my home track would probably be Atomic. That's probably the closest one to me. It's about an hour. The next closest one to me would probably be Lawrenceburg, and then Florence. And then Eldora is probably almost hour and 45 for me. Attica and Fremont, they're over too. So yeah, I'd probably say Atomic.
Yeah, that makes me feel bad because my home track, what I would consider it's literally 5 minutes down the road. So
Yep. Yep.
uh
What track would that be?
Tri-City Raceway Park here
Okay.
in Franklin, PA.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So it's and then it's like about an hour and 40-minute drive down to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Motor
Okay.
Speedway, which you
Okay.
said you've been to. So just
Yep.
kind of
I've been
give
there.
you the
I think I do. I think I got Tri City on the schedule. I think I'll be there with Fast once or twice this year.
okay.
So I'll be there a couple times. But no, like my favorite track that I've ever ran at is probably either Brownstown, which is in Indiana, or Bloomington in Indiana. I'm a big I like a lot of Indiana tracks because back in the day with mini sprints, I was able to run obviously all around Ohio. Didn't really touch PA or West Virginia or Kentucky, anything like that. It was more Ohio and Indiana. Obviously, I ran Waynesfield a lot in Ohio. That was kind of my home track, and then Indiana, I ran Bloomington a lot. That's my personal favorite track, and I'm actually going back there this coming Friday for the first time in the sprint car. So I'm kind of a little bit excited about that one.
Is that the Maverick series?
Yep,
That
yep. It's the Maverick. Yep, the Maverick sprint car series. Yep.
yeah. Yeah. So are you gonna hit some of those races this year?
Yeah, no, I'm planning. I worked out my schedule. I'm planning to hit all the Bloomington races. The Lincoln Park race. They don't have any Brownstown. I'm hoping that maybe next season they get a couple Brownstown races because I love Brownstown. Um, and then I'm gonna try to maybe hit a Terre Haute. Possibly, I'm trying to see if that works with my work schedule. So, but yeah, they're definitely gonna try to hit a majority of those if I can because obviously I want to go back to some tracks I liked back in the day.
So you kind of mentioned that you're running the fast series a little bit with Tri-City.
Mm-hmm.
Do you plan on running the whole series or just like hit or miss?
I'm just kind of picking and choosing right now because it's been because it's like I said, it's hard with my vacation days with work because they got a bunch of I really wanted to do Speed Week this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because Aaron Fry, he's always supported me throughout my career, and I've been trying just to support Fast. He's a great guy, takes care of the series very well. But just with my work schedule, wasn't able to work it out, and I don't want to fully commit. I didn't want to fully commit to the Fast series unless I actually was able to give the whole time and be able to run the full Speed Week, which I think we're going to attempt to do next year. Talking with my dad, so we're going to try to at least do. That's on my bucket list is to do Speed Week one time, and then I want to go down to Charlotte. Those are the last two things on my bucket list in sprint cars is to do. But I'm going to try to do Fast full time next year. But I'm still going to be going to a couple Fast shows this year just to support Aaron.
Oh, other than Charlotte, what are some tracks that are like bucket list type for you?
So obviously, I think my one growing up, my bucket list track was Eldora, and that was number one. So I've ran that a couple times, so I can have crossed that off my list. I would definitely say, I would say Charlotte's probably one of them. Knoxville's one of them. Um, Port Royal and probably Williams Grove. I want to at least run one of those at least once just to say I've ran there. I think that'd be pretty sweet. Um, but yeah, no, probably number one out of all of those. I'd probably say Williams Grove. I've always thought Williams Grove looks like a unique driving experience, and I would just love to see how it races and drives in the sprint car and how it feels. Um, I just think that'd be super, super interesting.
Yeah, I think years ago on the Open Red podcast, Greg Hodnett, he explained driving one lap around Williams Grove and it
Yeah,
took him like 2.5 minutes. So it's definitely unique.
yeah, no, it's a unique shapely track. It's got a unique shape to it.
So what was the surface like at Eldora? Was it good, bad,
Um,
decent?
Personally, Eldora is probably one of the better tracks in Ohio with track conditions, in my opinion. But obviously in Ohio, all tracks eventually get dusty throughout the night. It's just how it is. They get dusty and slick. That's just Ohio tracks. But no, I mean, depending on when you go, I think the best time to go if you want to see like wicked fast Eldora is probably the Four Crown. When it gets a little bit colder, I think the Four Crowns probably got usually the best track conditions for Eldora. Kings Royal, it's usually it just starts out pretty tacky, but then throughout the night, obviously it gets dusty and slick smooth, which is good. And then the Let's Race 2, it's usually pretty tacky. It stays a little bit tackier, but then eventually it just kind of slicks off and gets dusty, but not super dusty.
Okay.
They're usually pretty good about the dust over there at Eldora.
Um, did you race the Eldora Million last year?
I did. Got my ass kicked, but it was I always love going to Eldora, no matter if I'm doing good or if I'm struggling throughout the night, because obviously every time I go there, I learn something new. Eldora is a track that you just got to know your stuff on, and every time you go there, I learn my personal experience. Every time I go there, I learn something new, at least one or two things new every time about the car or what to do. Because Eldora is just so fast, and just to keep up the track and everything like that, there's stuff you learn every day over there.
Um, do you think them having more local races would help you get a bigger notebook? Because I know that's a big topic that some Ohio guys, they're like, I don't want to go there because
Yeah,
the
cool. I would love if they ran a local show every week or every month or something like that, whatever they did, because it would just let the smaller teams, it would let them get a bigger notebook compared to all the guys that have ran there for 25, 20 plus years. Um, it would just help us get a little bit more notes and let us be more a little bit competitive with each other, because obviously you go against the outlaws or the high limit guys, you're going against the big dogs. So and they got the best of the best. So it's sometimes it's hard to compete there. But obviously some local guys are able to do it. But no, I definitely think some just non-special races would definitely help the local guys just get a bigger notebook.
yeah, I know. I forget who. I've seen a couple of Ohio drivers
Mhm.
say about that where they're like, we would go, but it's like they like the Outlaws and stuff. They have just as good, if not better, of a notebook, and you know they they got all that big sponsorship money, so it just kind of makes it a little
No, yeah, and
more
obviously
unfair.
money's everything in racing. When you have two or three spare cars in the trailer and two or three motors, you can run the piss out of them. You reckon you can just pull a new one out, and obviously some smaller guys they only got one or two cars. They might have two frames and a motor, and obviously they got to make that last throughout the season. So I totally understand it. I get it. Um, so I definitely would love if Eldor ever ran weekly shows. I think that'd be awesome. I think they'd get a pretty decent car count. I would personally go there. Um, but I know back in the day they used to do that. Now the chance of them ever doing that again, because I think Eldor is just kind of one of those special tracks in Ohio. It's kind of the I refer to as the special races throughout the season. Eldora is usually just that track.
Um,
So,
sorry,
um,
Tim.
no, you're good. What are your what are your plans for the upcoming year? And then what are your plans to come to Western PA on top of that?
Um, I was planning to hit the that PA Motor Speedway in like March, but something came up and I was able to make it. But I'm gonna try to hit that a couple times. And I'm gonna hit Tri City. I think I got that on my schedule once or twice. That always looks like a nice little track, so I'll love to go there once. And then obviously I'm gonna try to see if I can't work in Williams Grove or Port Royal one of these times, and knock those off my bucket list this year. That'd be awesome. So I'm just gonna see. It just all depends how the season goes, and if anything goes wrong or anything like that, whatever the case may happen. So I just got to see how the season goes, and we'll kind of go from there.
Nice. Have you ever been to Lernerville?
I have not. That is also on my list.
Okay. Yeah. So that
I,
one's also like an hour and 20 minutes from us. We're like
that's not.
we're right in the sweet spot of like we have, I don't know, like eight to 10 tracks within like 2 hours. So
Mm-hmm.
nice tracks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, and then we got like over in like Central PA with like Port Royal and all that.
Mm-hmm.
That's about 3 to 4 hours away. And then like Attica and Fremont and even Atomic, they're about like probably like 3 to 4.5 hours away as well. So
That's not
kind of
bad.
yeah, kind of on my bucket list to get to some of those tracks and you know
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
go over there and see you kick some butt.
Hey, I'm gonna try, man. I've been struggling here recently, so we're trying some new stuff and see if it can't get me a little bit more comfortable in the car. We've done some different stuff this off season, so hopefully it kind of shows on the track. So we'll just see how the season goes and kind of go from there, and then obviously make changes accordingly.
How has the new tire, like the adjustment to it, how has that been?
I'll say it's different. Obviously I'm still learning, so at first I couldn't really tell that much of a difference, but then obviously as the season went on, you could kind of tell. Um, they just they personally they last a little bit longer, so obviously I think they're a little bit harder. Um, but the adjustments we're still doing the same adjustments. You just gotta however your car is obviously per chassis changes, but um, sometimes you just gotta make a little bit different stagger adjustments just to kind of cope with that tire. Different bars, shock adjustments, everything. Because obviously you can do adjustments to kind of counteract something, or if you don't have the stagger, you can change shocks, bars, turns, whatever you want to do to kind of make the car do what you want to do if you got limited stagger. Because usually I only go out. I got three right rears. I have three right rears I can choose from and three left rears. That's it. So obviously my stagger choices are limited. So compared to obviously the bigger guys, I know they probably got 10 or 15 of each that they can choose to stagger from per night with a new tire. So it's been interesting because I know it's kind of hard to tell because the Ohio tracks I don't think give it the best opportunity to see how they do because obviously the every Ohio track's kind of the same. It just starts out tacky and then by heat races it's dusty slick, dry slick. So yeah, no, it hasn't been too complicated, I guess is the word to say. So obviously with the stuff we're doing this season, we're gonna see what that causes and see what it does to that tire.
Um, what do you think about the wicker bills? Are you going to be running a 3-inch one like the Ohio
So
or
I
like
haven't I
they
saw that. I haven't looked much into it. I'm trying to see if tracks are making it like allowed. I don't know. I haven't looked into see if Bloomington's allowing a 3-inch wicker or if the Maverick series is. I know that was kind of the big craze at the start of the season because people were scrambling to try to find a 3-inch wicker, and I know Kistler's up there made a bunch of them for the guys up in Attica and Fremont. Um, but no, I've always ran a 1-inch or a 2-inch. Obviously, I throw a 2-inch on throughout the night when it gets dry slick just to keep the car down. Um, but no, I personally I haven't ran a 3-inch yet, so I'll be curious to see if I can tell that 1-inch difference.
Yeah, we had Van Gurley Jr. on recently and he
Mm-hmm.
said well he said about his one tweet he had where we he said, "Gentlemen, your ladies can't tell a difference between 1 inch and neither can you." It's what he said. So
Yeah, I
it
saw.
was
Yep.
but yeah, I think I saw like Attica and Fremont they're allowing 1 to 3 inches. I think you can run any of them, but I
Yep.
think
Yep.
like a lot of the Central PA tracks that they said that like they're doing what the Outlaws say, just the 1 inch, and then if like the Outlaws and High Limits change it back to like 2 inches, they're just gonna do the same thing and follow them. But yeah,
Yeah, I know some tracks are kind of just following just to make that easier for the series to kind of follow suit, and they're just kind of copying the series rules just to make it a little bit easier for everybody, so it's kind of clear across the slate. But yeah, I'll be honest, I don't know if you'll be able to really tell that 1 inch of a difference, especially if it's just that dry slick that you're like, oh shit, I need to put on a 3 inch wicker. I'm probably gonna agree with Van on that one.
Yeah, I think that's like a lot of like the like Cool Macedo, I think, said he couldn't tell not big of a difference, and like a
Hmm.
bunch of guys early on this year said they really couldn't tell. But I mean, racing wise, watching Outlaws and stuff, it looks the same as every year. But I mean,
Yeah, yeah, yep.
but
So
um,
what do you think about the Outlaws versus High Limit series now?
I think it's interesting. I do like the fact that High Limit gave fast Ohio Sprint Speed Week. I think that's awesome. I think High Limit's been doing great for sprint cars. I think they're bringing a lot of money in, obviously for the guys that can run the midweek shows and stuff like that. And anytime you can bring more money to sprint cars and give back to the drivers, I think that's awesome. Now I do wish they had a little bit more in Ohio. I don't know off the top of my head how many they got, but I know they got a little bit less than what the All Stars had originally when they were running full time. But overall, I think High Limit's great for the series. Obviously, just more money you can bring, the better.
yeah, I think off the top of my head, I want to say they got maybe two races, or no, I'm forgetting about Eldora. They have like four
I think it's under
races at
5.
Eldora. Yeah, I don't think it's more than five.
Yeah, I don't
Like,
think it's. I think it's. Yeah, I was gonna say it's either 3 or 4, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head.
yeah, but the one good thing, a lot of the Ohio tracks that did have all-star dates, they did raise their weekly purses and they do
Hmm.
have some
Hmm.
special events. So that's help not helps, but I mean they're not gonna have the all-star name to come to like those higher paying races and make more money. But I mean it'll be interesting to see how it goes the next 5 years.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do this year and see how, because they've been obviously every show they've gotten absolutely great car count. So it'll kind of see how well they can keep that car count up throughout the year, which I think they're going to probably maintain or if not do better. Because obviously last year I know the one they ran at Lincoln Park they had a great car count for their first show. And I think that was a great race. I think Indiana racetracks put on a great race. So it'll be interesting to see how they do.
Going back to kind of your plans this year, but in the sense of what are some goals that you have for this season?
Um, my goals, man, are I just want to get as much notes as I can throughout the night, just to kind of help because we got a new car and I just want to see how it compares to my other chassis, and I just want to see which one I like more. I'm just going to try to get as many notes as I can, obviously, and then racing wise, I just want to get as many top 15s, top 10s, top fives as I can. Obviously, my goal is trying to win a race, but I just want to work on being more consistent. The better I can get, more top 15s, top 10s, top fives, top threes, top twos, and then winning a race, the wins will come the more you're consistent.
Um, do you have like any long-term goals and aspirations in mind with sprint car racing?
Man, I would love to be able to quit my day job to go run full time, but um, that's kind of a far fetched dream. But man, if I can make that happen, that'd be awesome. Now, is it a goal of mine since I was a kid? Yeah. Chances of that happening are slim because there's just so many good drivers that don't even have a ride. That some should be in a outlaw or with the high limit. But no, that's a childhood goal of mine is to run full time for a job. That would be absolutely wonderful. But chances of that happening are slim to none. Obviously, with the drivers in this day and age.
Yeah, our goal with the podcast is to be able to quit our day jobs and do this full time and cover dirt racing full time.
No,
But
yeah, yeah. Like I said, man, it's all that'd be awesome. But some of that stuff, it just obviously, like I said, it's just with the so many good drivers you got in Ohio, it's hard to um, unless you just have an absolutely stellar couple seasons. It's you got to start putting yourself on the map, and obviously sponsors. That's a big thing. You got to have sponsors. So yeah, no, we'll see how it goes.
yeah.
So obviously most Ohio tracks turn to dust. But
Yep.
what do you have a preference on track prep or tracks in general?
Now what do you mean? Like I guess
Like,
what
do you prefer the way like Ohio tracks end up like dusty, or do you like them slick, hooked up?
I prefer Indiana tracks where they don't really slick off till the feature
Okay.
is my, but they still got obviously got multiple grooves you can run. You can run the middle, low, bottom, high. Um, like I think Bloomington's a great example. If you go back whenever Donnie won when the last time they ran there, that track had multiple grooves, and I think that's one of the best shows they've put on way back in the day back at Bloomington. That was a great race. You can watch it on YouTube. Um, and there's another one. I'm trying to remember what the guy's name was that won it. He's from PA. He ran over in Bloomington with the Outlaws and he won an outlaw race over there. Oh boy,
Um,
what was his? It's on the tip of my tongue.
Dale Blaney, maybe.
No, it
Uh,
wasn't Blake. Um, I want to say his last name's Wolf.
oh, Lucas Wolf.
No, oh, it might not be Lucas Wolf. I'll have to look it up after this. That's gonna bug me now. But no, he won. He won over in Bloomington. That was a great race too. It's on YouTube. But no, I personally love the way Indiana does tracks. I've never really been a fan of Ohio tracks because eventually when they just get so slick, you're just eating up tires every night. And um, some teams can't afford to buy a new right rear and a new left rear every night, obviously depending on track conditions. But I prefer not to burn up a set of tires every night because that bill just adds up very very quickly.
So
Um,
then, do you prefer the like bigger tracks or the smaller tracks?
So that's been my kind of internal conversation I've been having myself is I like personally I love Eldora like during the Four Crown I don't think nothing beats it, but also I love Bloomington when it's pretty juiced up and hooked up. That red clay over there is just second to none, and I think they both got their pros and cons. Obviously, the bigger tracks you kind of need a little bit bigger motor, and then obviously the smaller tracks the local guys can run and be a little bit more competitive than they can at bigger tracks if you're going against like obviously the Outlaws or the High Limit. Um, but I think I like them both equally. If I had to lean more towards one or the other, I'd probably say half miles. So obviously, I just like going fast. I think that's it's a unique experience at Eldora, especially going over turn three, the hump, the gate. I think that's a pretty wicked experience the first time you do it because you think it upsets the car and then it sets right back down because you're just going so damn fast into three. It's pretty wicked.
um, well, before we started, you did say you like West Virginia Motor Speedway. And
Yes.
that's a big 5/8 miles. So you like
Yes,
them even bigger than half miles.
I do. That was my that was my personal favorite. I think I ran there every time I think it was 2 years ago at this point when they ran. I think they ran 3 or 4 times. I think I was there every time and I loved it. Um the one night it was we were waiting for the feature and then it rained and we thought it was going to cancel and it absolutely poured for maybe 10-15 minutes and then they worked the track in and I think I ran all out of tear offs by lap like two. And I had to wipe. I was wiping my non-dominant hand while I was going down the straightaway just so I could see. But no, that was an awesome track. That track was wicked fast.
That's crazy that you were just wiping from like lap two to, I'm guessing that was
I,
like probably
I
like
think
20,
I'm gonna be honest.
25.
Going back on it, I think because obviously sometimes shit gets under your tear offs, and I think one time because I swear I had like 15 or 20 on there, and then unless I just didn't realize I was still ripping them off, because I think I started like in the back, mid pack in the back. And obviously in the back you get absolutely splattered with dirt if the track's still kind of heavy, little tacky, a little juiced up. Um, but no, yeah, I think I swear I ran out of tear offs by like lap 2 or 3. It felt like.
Uh, I,
Um,
I feel like running out of tear offs and losing your brakes mid race are just like you
No,
just
because
have to
actually
hold on for dear life.
no, one time actually. So I ate the wall one time in West Virginia because um I was going into three and I was obviously because I think it was a little bit more slick this time and I was just kind of riding the brakes. I go into three and my rear brake rotor exploded and sent me into the wall because it just locked up my rear end, and that was a parts failure. And then the one time after that race, I ran out of tear offs. I came off the track and I didn't have brakes, and I kind of pulled out of gear and just kind of spun around real quick just to stop the car, and realized my entire brake caliper just fell off. because the brake pads were just, I guess I heated up so much and the bolts just got backed out, whatever the case may be. But no, my brake caliper was just hanging on the rear end. And I didn't realize I had brakes, so because I wasn't even using them.
Yeah.
So, but no, yeah, it's a great track. It sucks to see that they shut down. So hopefully sometime in the future that they bring that back, because I think that's a really, really nice track if they were to get more car count, because I think the car count over there was what killing them, because I don't think a lot of people wanted to go run a 5/8 mile. But I like running bigger tracks with like a local series, because you get a chance to be competitive with them. Compared, obviously, it was the Outlaws and the High Limits, be a little more harder to be competitive with them, with the guys and all the sponsorship money that they got.
Mhm.
Um, so I can't remember if we said this while we were recording or not, but you did say you were gonna try to go to Pennsboro,
Yep.
and do some bridge racing. How with going to like a new track or like a track that's like historic that you've never been to, um, how do you go into the night?
Man, my goal every night is just to make the feature. That's my goal every night, is make the feature. And if I make the feature and qualify well, actually I take it back. I'm gonna say if I qualify well, my goal every night is qualify well, because qualifying is make or break in sprint car racing. If you can't qualify well, you're not gonna make the show. So my goal every night is to qualify and make the feature. And then obviously once you make the feature, your goals kind of change from there, and it's just get a top 15, a top 10, or a top 8, or top 5, whatever the case may be. But no, my main goal is just to get comfortable and qualify well. Because if you can qualify well, you can make the feature.
Um, do you prefer shows that you have to qualify or just doing a pill draw to like find out where you start in a heat race?
Personally, I think you become a better sprint car driver when it depends on qualifying. Because obviously you have to qualify well. Because if you don't qualify well, you start in the back. If it's a 40 car show, you're kind of just you're shit out of luck at that point, and you just gotta hope that you can make it up in the heat race. Which, if you're going against the high limit guys, the outlaw guys, you're not gonna do that. Um, but in a local show, you do have the chance to do that. But obviously, I don't mind either. But I think qualifying makes you a better driver overall.
What do you think about like the dash redraws or well, not necessarily for dash, but like the redraws for the starting top like 8 or whatever for the feature.
Um, I don't mind it. I think with the Outlaws, I think that's more of their points thing, because obviously they're so close that they need those guys are so close together, like, and just how similar the cars are. The cars are basically the same, and how close they are, and just speed, that they need that dash just to help them get a better starting position for the feature. Just so, because obviously they're trying to win the championship for like Macedo and Gravel and them, and I know they kind of their goal every night is to make the dash. Like, they have to make the dash if they wanna stay in the championship races. They got to make the dash, because obviously they need that starting spot, so they can start first or second. They got a chance to win it.
Um, so you don't mind like I don't know if Attica or Fremont does like a redraw for the
I
feature or not, and
I
like do
know they do
you
draws, but I don't know if they do a dash or not. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. Um, I don't know if Attica does it either. They might do it first. I know when the Outlaws there, they obviously did the dash and the high limit and all that. Um, but I don't know off the top of my head. I don't know of any local tracks that do a dash, unless it's a special show.
yeah, I don't think there is, but um like would you rather have the redraw for the dash or would you rather have just a
Anytime
redraw?
an extra chance in the car is awesome, because that's just more seat time. So I wouldn't be opposed to tracks having a dash, a five or I don't know how many outlaws. I think they do 8. I think it's an 8 lap dash. So I wouldn't be opposed to it, but also I'm not opposed to just a normal pill draw redraw.
Outside of racing, what are some of your hobbies that you like to do or things you like to do?
Um, Man, honestly, I work every day, come home, uh, video games here and there with the buddies. I go drink with the buddies, have a beer, go play some pool. Um, and just basically kind of just go hang out with my friends, man, and video games. That's really it. I'm pretty simple. And then obviously go out with the girlfriend and stuff like that. But Yeah, no, that's really it. Racing's kind of outside of work. Racing's my other main focus.
Nice.
I did see that I think I saw that you're a Bengals fan.
Yep,
So,
yep. And I like my football in my free time. Yep.
yeah, just so you know, the Steelers are gonna win both times against them this year, just so you have that to look forward to.
I will. We'll see how it goes, man. I'm just hoping. I'm hoping Joe can stay healthy. As long as Joe can stay healthy, we got a shot.
Well, they did get
So
new. They did get in that New York Jets turf where everybody always like gets hurt. So
yeah,
he
I
better be
I thought
careful.
that's gonna be interesting how they how that works. Obviously, the Jets and Giants turf is not great for injuries, but apparently it's a new version of that. So I guess we'll see how that plays into the season. But man, as long as Jamar and Joe can stay healthy, I think we'll be all right. And obviously, I'm hoping they get Byron Murphy in the draft, or they go after Brock Bowers. I'm hoping they trade up for Bowers. That would be my dream pick, but we'll see how that goes in the draft.
Yeah, it's coming up here, so we'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
man. April 25th, I think, is the first night.
Yeah,
So
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
so but no, it'll be really really interesting to see how they do that. I'm hoping if the Bengals, man, they almost had it 2 years ago when they almost made it. Man, that was a heartbreaker. So we'll see if we can't get back there.
Yeah, it was hard as a Steelers fan, but I was rooting for him to win that Super Bowl just because I want to see uh, if the Steelers can't win it, I want either the division or someone that hasn't won a Super Bowl to win.
Oh
So
yeah, no, you always want the team in the Super Bowl that doesn't have a Super Bowl or doesn't have as many as the other team. You want them to usually win, but no, man, that play when Ramsey fell down and Jamar was wide open for a touchdown, but Joe got sacked. That play haunts me every day. Every time I pops up on my Twitter, I'm like, damn, we were one play away from a Super Bowl win. So, but no, I think since we made it there, I think the Bengals got a shot every time since they got Joe, every season they got a shot at the Super Bowl because they got Joe.
um, Tim, do you have any more questions you want to ask before we wrap this up?
I do not, but just to wrap it up, where can people follow your racing and get any of your
Ashford
merchandise?
Motorsports on Facebook. My personal Facebook page. I usually share it to my personal Facebook page, and then Ashford Motorsports on Facebook, and then Bashford Forex on Twitter.
And then do you have merchandise at the races or?
Yeah, I keep shirts in the trailer. I think I got a couple beanies and hats left too. Obviously when those run out, I'll order some new shirts and beanies and hats. But I keep merchandise in the trailer.
Um, well, do you want to shout out any of your sponsors and anybody else that you want?
Um, I just want to give a big shout out to High Speed Tie. Joe over there has been giving me huge helps with bolts. Any questions I got, he's been super helpful. Performance Powder Coating, Bush Auto, Fife Landscaping. Yeah,
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks. We
no problem.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Invite anytime.
Cool.
That was a great episode with Bradley Ashford. So go follow him on his social media accounts and go watch him race this year. So that's it for this episode. Watch on YouTube, listen on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, and follow us on social media. And get out to the dirt track.